Hello everyone and welcome back. I'm Diane Deziel and today I'm doing with you a princess line that goes all the way to the neck and shoulder point, and you will see that the style also needs a pivoting. From my pattern book, the bodice pattern book, we already did the basic one that goes from the waist to the apex and then to the middle of the shoulder. Today I feel like showing you another one that I really like. It's a variation of the princess line from the waist to the pivot and then to the neck and shoulder point. Before to start, I wanted to talk about the new stuff that you'll find in my booklet. First, there's more information right at the beginning, but the interesting part is at the end, where you're going to find, as usual, the quarter scale sloper and the quarter scale ruler. There's much more than before. It's inches and centimeter, and I give you the full scale curve ruler, the small one. And the most interesting is the assembling plan and the block for regular size and for the plus size. You might want to trace right on the block the style line we're doing today, from the neck point all the way to the pivot. Now I said that there's going to be a pivoting, but that's not on the first piece we're doing. I usually start with the center front piece. So my center front piece is right here. I just have to trace and mark my pivot. So I'm tracing from the first notch at the waist. I'm going to trace all the way to the neck and shoulder point, and I'm going to indicate my pivot. Now, just like I'm saying in most of my document, we're going to move the block a little more than twice the seam allowance value that we're using. So if you're using 1 centimeter, move at least 2 centimeter towards the side seam. If you're using inches, let's say ½ inch, then 1 inch minimum towards the side seam. Now for this piece, I'm going to trace starting at the second notch of the waist dart. I will trace all the way until the second notch of the shoulder dart. Now I'm going to do my pivoting. I'm going to mark and hold the pivot, and I'm going to close the shoulder dart, putting the first notch over the second one. Once your pivoting is done, you could trace the last little part that we're missing from the notch to the shoulder and neck point. Now we're going to trace the princess line on both pieces, from the waist to the pivot to the neck and shoulder point. Same thing over here, waist, pivot, neck and shoulder point. There you go, the pattern is finished. What we can do is eliminate the shoulder notch. And I'm going to take the time to add the seam allowance all around except at the center front. Just a little detail for the seam allowance in the neckline. From the center front, you should always keep a tiny little bit, like 5 millimeter or 1/4 inch square with the center front. I took the time to add my seam allowance today because I want to show you what to do with the long seam allowance point that often create confusion when it's time to assemble. Now I'm going to cut my piece all around, and I show you how to get rid of the long point. Now we could do the notches. So I'm going to start with the princess line, place the bottom part together, just like that. And we're going to do a notch in the bottom part. Make sure it's not centered in that bottom part. Now for the apex notch, you're going to look at the point of the inside line, the seam line for both pieces. So I just dotted so you can see it even from the other side. Now we're going to cut the long point of the center front piece. And to do it, you're going to put your side panel over, flip it and place it over the center front panel. You could use your pattern awl and place the pivot exactly one over the other. Pivot your side piece until it touches the line perfectly, the top line. Then you're going to cut all the point that is coming out. There you go, your pattern is finished. That's it for today. Thanks for watching and I see you soon.